Let's see how fast we can throw one together here. The Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series is live from Daytona. And we're a little bit behind here today, but I'm excited to bring you flag-to-flag coverage as far as we can here. We're 11 laps into this race, so let's just go ahead and cycle it over. Not a lot of details here on the grid, but they are live and racing right now, as you can see on the screen. Alex Healy is your leader right now, and I have Alex Gagnon up in the booth with me. Alex, so far, the last race of the regular season, it's been tight. Let's see if one of these guys can run their way, roll the dice, and get lucky at Daytona and get their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, when you end your season with a wild card race like Daytona, it really can shuffle up the playoff picture in a hurry, and a couple of drivers are going to be looking to do just that today. A couple of these drivers who are not locked in yet, running inside the top 10 right now, looking to try and capitalize if they can. Looking at some of the names in that top group right there, guys like Drew Prohl and Craig Schroeder first come to mind as drivers who are closer to that cut line, who a win would do massive favors for their hunt to be part of the 16 drivers vying for the first ever OiL Xfinity Series championship here as they make their way back down the front stretch here to start lap 13.
So we didn't miss much at the beginning of this race, but I will say that apologies to everybody on getting the late start here. Maybe some bad weather. I know the Midwest has been really turbulent, but you were talking about Drew Prohl and what he needs to do. How about a lot of these guys? Because it's been tight. If you look at the top 10, everybody up there has a win. And we look at the points here briefly. Everybody in this top 10 has a win, or up in the top 5 rather, and then it's scattered throughout. So nobody outside of that cut line has a win. They can lock themselves into the top 16.
Yeah, and that's what makes tonight all that much more important. Trying to get that opportunity to race your way in here tonight at one of the most famous racetracks in all of North America here at Daytona International Speedway. But it's a track where even more than your skill as a driver, you're going to need some luck here tonight. You're going to be running so close together that it's going to be just an absolute nightmare when it comes down to the end of this race and everyone's trying to jockey for position, because there's so much take and so little give as this race goes on that a lot of danger can lurk around every corner here. But so far in the early going, everyone kind of keeping it settled down, staying in line, feeling out who's going to be their drafting partners as this thing goes on. You've got Daniel Cunningham leading that inside row in that green and yellow number 08 Oregon Duck Machine. You got Alex Healy leading that high lane 2x2. They go through the entire field right now with Cunningham and Healy up at the front of the field.
And so Mark Morton, he's trying to push Healy back up to the front, but these Xfinity cars had a little change after the update. They can only push for about 2 laps before they overheat. And after experiencing that in QSR on Tuesday, I mean, what do you do if you're sitting 4th, 5th spot back right now? It doesn't do you any good to get right up on the bumper. As you see back there with Tony Iverson, he's right up on the back bumper of, I believe that's the 32 machine of Brett Bieber. That car's probably getting hot, and he'll have to step it out every now and then to get air to the front end.
Yeah, he certainly will as this run continues. If you just keep sitting on someone's bumper, there's no fresh air getting to the nose of that car. Engine temps and water temps start to climb up a little bit, and before you know it, you could be in a world of hurt. I always think back to that classic clip from the NASCAR COVID iRacing events back in 2020, where Clint Boyer was running up to the front, and then on live TV, his engine exploded, and he made a big deal about it. While really funny to watch if you're the one actually driving it, it's one of the worst feelings in the world because there's not a whole lot you can do about it, so you have to be really mindful about where you try and get fresh air in the car, but you can't get too optimistic with getting fresh air on the nose, because if you step out of line too much, you might start losing the draft to those around you, and then you start losing a ton of speed. It's a really fine line you have to walk.
Hiding on board here deep into the pack, 18th position, Cody Anderson. And if you're sitting back here, I think you're just kind of sandbagging, playing, letting these guys race, let the laps tick away. And hopefully you get a green flag pit stop to put yourself ahead of this group. But you don't want to lose that draft. It's oh so important. This racetrack that's all it is. Follow the leader, stay in the draft, wait for your opportunity to pick up as many spots as you can. And usually guys this far back, they'll wait to start going about 15 to go. That's when they'll start making their moves.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be that time where drivers start to settle in, but they can't stick around and where they're at for too much longer. We do have one stage break here tonight. It's scheduled for lap 25, so in about 8 laps, if everything stays green, the yellow will fly, and whoever has the lead will get some critical stage points to that playoff hunt. For a driver like Alex Healy, who's only a part-timer here in the OiL Xfinity Series, maybe not too big of a deal, but for the 08 of Daniel Cunningham or the 32 of Brett Bieber, some of those cars marred back in that top 6-8, those could be some really important points going into the playoffs next week, and I have no doubt that Cunningham's going to try and keep that car out in front as long as he can here before that yellow flag flies for the stage, and try and get those ever so crucial points that he's going to need. That outside line, a little bit of a, I'll say a privateer line. A couple of part-timers out there between Healy and Mark Morton. Both of these guys not running a full-time OiL Xfinity schedule, but having a really good race to start off tonight's race at Daytona.
Trading back and forth with Healy and Cunningham. They're going to go back across the line. Healy going to get that lap led. So that's going to add another one to the books. He's got 7 now. The lead has only changed a handful of times, but it's been the same 2 cars, I believe, from the start of this race. And this graphic that will pop up on the screen, not entirely accurate, but since we went live here on lap number 11, we've had 6 changes for the lead. And the 2, Mark Morton, I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job keeping Healy up here, but it's got to give eventually. You don't want to see that engine explode, because if you don't have a car, then you can't finish.
No, you certainly can't. You know, it's the age-old adage of you can't win a race at Daytona on the opening couple laps, but you can certainly lose it. So he's going to have to be really mindful. You see he pokes the nose out to the outside of the 97 there, a little bit off of 4. That'll help get a little bit of fresh air in there. It's not a whole lot, but it does wonders for trying to keep that engine temp down as they continue to make their way around here. Now on to lap 20. They have been 2 by 2 this entire time. The entire field only separated by 1.5 seconds right now. The top 16 cars all within a second.
So that's kind of what you want, though. If you're back here 18th, 19th position, you want to stay within that gap. And Dustin Reinsettle rounding out this field. Every single car has maintained this draft. It only takes one little mistake, a guy to hit the apron or bobble, and you get into the back of him, everybody trying to save it. Those situations happen all the time at Daytona, so if you find yourself outside of that draft, that wake, you're going to have to group up with somebody. Hopefully it's not the guy that just made the mistake and has damage to race your way back up.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I'm also starting to look at these 2 lines. That outside groove starting to get a little bit more disjointed than the inside lane. You know, you got 4, 5, 6 cars there on that outside line, then a big gap back. That's basically dissolved that top lane. More and more cars now diving to the bottom. So Alex Healy's got that front 6 on the outside really tuned in right now, but it kind of falls off after that. The inside line with a lot more support, and in the long run, that could be huge. So we're seeing some shuffling in the back of the field here, looking off the back bumper of one of these machines of the 93. You could see the 113 of Daniel Worthington just behind him. Same deal with the 42 of Cody Anderson. Bobby Hall right now trucking along in that number 94. He's had a really good back half of the season here. Past couple races that he's had 4 top 10s in his last 5 races, including the win at Richmond a couple weeks ago. So the 94 definitely riding a wave of momentum. He would love to cap off the regular season with win number 2 here.
He picked up a podium last night in the Truck Series as well, so up in the top 3 for the 94, and he said the momentum swinging in his favor. He talked to us there in the post-race and compared it to climbing a mountain, because that's how he felt at the start of the season. He just had a rocky start, had a couple DNFs, had a race just not go his way, and now he's finding himself just inside the top 16 for the Truck Series as well.
Yeah, he has put together a really strong back half of the season, and is showing in the points column. As we're looking up to the front of the field here, 2 laps to go in this stage. Daniel Cunningham, Alex Healy still duking it out for first. Cunningham's got a full car length advantage, though, over the 97 off of turn 2.
I don't know if I like that. He pushed him out a little far, and there's the bump right there. almost pushed him off the racetrack. He got below the yellow line. That's going to allow Healy to get a good run out of 3 and 4.
And the 97 will draw right back along. The 08 nearly got pushed out of line there by Brett Bieber, but he was able to jump back in front before he lost any positions on track. But he did lose that momentum he had over that outside line and is no longer clear of them both. As they hit the line for 1 lap to go in this stage. The 08 going to try and set up the double block here again, going off of turns 1 and 2. We'll see if the outside line's got anything for him, or if Brett Bieber can sneak his way by on the inside.
Big surge of speed here down the back straightaway. Alex Healy has the push from Morton. Will he stick to the bumper for these stage points? Oh, so important. It looks like it's going to be neck and neck at the line here.
3 and 4 side by side, no gaps between them up front. Here they come off of turn 4, racing to the stage break. Healy's got the nose ahead, and he is going to win the opening stage here at Daytona. The 97 of Alex Healy got a great run off of turn 4, and by about half a car length will edge out the 08 of Daniel Cunningham and the 2 of Mark Morton.
So this is actually the winner of the stage, just to clarify the graphic not quite working correctly. But maybe this is paying homage. Maybe Nostradamus knows something we don't, but race winner technically through the first 25 laps, Alex Healy.
Yeah, good stage win there for the 97. And that will bring a potential opportunity for some of these cars to come down pit road as the pace car is trying to sort his way through traffic back there. We saw him kind of get stuck in the middle of 3 wide, now finds his way on through, and he'll try and get this group re-racked. So the opening 25 in the books here from Daytona. Looks like everyone's showing a lot of patience out there, not trying to force anything crazy in the early going, which from a broadcasting standpoint, I honestly think is the smartest move you can make, because anytime you start getting really aggressive early in these super speedway races, it usually leads to calamity before long.
Yeah, this race is based off of that. I mean, the chaos can break out at any point, and you could have 7, 8, 9 cars involved. You could have the whole field involved. I've seen a few where the leaders start to wreck, and everyone behind has nowhere to go. Just probably the worst time for that to happen is right at the exit of turn 4, where everyone's full song and up to speed, and here they come down pit road now. The entirety of this field going to bring it in.
Prime opportunity to try and get some service done on the car under yellow. The leaders making their way down to their respective pit boxes. Everyone dives in. And now the right sides are up.
Well, this is pretty much guaranteed to be a 4-tire stop for this entire field, I'd have to think. Actually, right sides only for Healy. 12 seconds in the stall. He's going to be down and away. Morton's going to follow him. A few others did take 4 tires. They're still on pit road.
An issue for Cunningham. Cunningham's still on pit road. The 08, who was a top 3 car through all of the opening stage, has massive trouble on pit road. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe he overshot his box or something, but he has fallen well outside the top 10.
So we can back this up here on the replay. Maybe a speeding penalty is the only thing I can come up with here. He had an additional 10, 12 seconds, unless something went on with the fuel. I'm not entirely sure here. 23 seconds in the stall.
It just seemed like a very long stop, because this is the part where I was getting concerned, because everyone starts rolling on by who were well behind him. And then after a while, he just rolls off. Unless he had a bit of optional damage that he might have needed to get repaired on that machine. Maybe a little bent-in fender or something they wanted to flare out while they had the opportunity. But a big loss of track position for the 08. And that's going to let the 2 of Mark Morton now find himself on the front row alongside Healy.
So the important thing is we're going to catch the second stage of this race. Alex Healy gets stage number 1 here at Daytona, the last race of the regular season. But while we try to get the rest of this broadcast sorted out, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I can get a couple more things working. You're watching the Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series. live on Vspeed. Back more after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live at Daytona. Overtake iRacing League Cups, or Xfinity Series. Sorry, that's the one I cover on Wednesdays, but the Xfinity Series is here live on Tuesday. We're getting ready to go back green. Alex Healy won the stage. He's going to lead him into turn one. Green flag is out.
Yeah, Alex Healy, part-time competitor here in the Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series. His only other start of the season was a top 10 finish at Indianapolis a few weeks ago. So a bit of a merchant for the 2.5 mile speedways is the 9-7 there of Alex Healy, but he's about to lose out on the lead here. A great move to the inside by the 32 of Brett Bieber. He doesn't have a whole lot of help behind him, but now the 32 will move to the point.
So, and he left out to try. The 93 of Tom Hall jumps up in front of Healy, so now he's going to try to lead. 32 still has it if he wants it.
32's got no one around him right now. He is in no man's land until that bottom line gets up to him. Now here comes Bobby Hall to his rear bumper, but by the time they get there, the 93 of Hall is a full car length ahead, and we've got a new leader here at Daytona. The 93 will take the lead here. Alex Healy on his bumper with Morton behind him. Brett Bieber trying to fight back on the inside with Hall behind. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Neither of these cars were up in the front of their respective lines in the opening stage. Learning opportunity not only for them to see what their cars can do in clean air, but also for Healy and Morton to see what they can do now marred back in traffic.
If that wasn't too loud. Got a little thunder going on here. The weather's starting to pick up here as well. And, you know, it's kind of like a Daytona race. You have a nice quiet evening and everything's calm, and then you get the thundering around this place. You get that first stage in. Well, we had our first stage here today. We had some flood water, and I hope everything's okay with Christian. It's just not like him to not show up or not say anything. So prayers and thoughts are going out to everybody from pretty much all of the Ohio Valley all the way down to Georgia right now. Actually had Jacob Reeves. He had a problem here today as well. So the weather affecting him, and so hopefully everybody can make it through this okay, because, I mean, it's widespread. It's all the way up pretty much the East Coast. Yeah,
it really is. It's one of the rare times where myself being down in Florida, it's one of the few times it's a big storm and I'm not dead smack in the middle of it. So I am appreciative for that much at least, but I am hoping everyone else is all right in this case as well, because, I mean, it did seem like it was rocking a whole lot of the eastern side of the U.S. here today.
Yeah, they didn't name this one, but if they did give it a name, I think Alex would be fitting. I think they should name it Alex.
I don't know if I have that much destructive power, but I will take that as a compliment nonetheless, as we're looking here off the back bumper of Hall, our leader. Alex Healy directly on his back bumper, not giving him any room just behind. Gonna try and close up that gap as much as possible, make that tandem as aerodynamic as possible. Although I'm sure the water temp inside the 97 not too happy to be getting so little clean air on the car, as both of them go way up the track there into 3.
Yeah.
They are running that high lane, really getting some separation from that lower lane from a side draft perspective, but it has opened the door for Mark Morton to get a clean run on the inside, and I think he's going to take the lead this lap.
He does lead that time by, and I saw the 113 of Daniel Worthington had jumped down. That bottom line is just 2 cars right now, and you see the 15, he jumps down as well. I mean, Matt Grenier is just trying to figure out, okay, which line's going to go? Can I get to the front? I want to lead lap 2.
Yeah, Matt Grenier's
trouble.
Whoa, big spin. Craig Schroeder around on the backstretch. The 56 sideways and into the outside wall.
We're staying green for now. There's the caution. And
I'll say they couldn't have kept that out for long. The 56 heavy into the across traffic there.
front end of that car is lifted off of the suspension. You can see it's not quite right there. It's just coming down the back straightaway. Still has all the sheet metal on it, so I think he might be all right to just a couple minutes repair, which thankfully we're at Daytona. He'll have that time. Let's go back on the replay and figure out how this happened.
Yeah, it's not too often you're going to wreck in the middle of the back straightaway like that, so we'll jump on board here with Schroeder's 6th car on that inside lane. Looks like him and Tony Iverson find each other in the middle of the track, and then everyone else scatters to avoid. Looks like there was a little bit of extra contact there of people checking up late, but the pinnacle of it here is as Iverson moves to the middle lane off of 2, Schroeder tries doing the same, and they meet each other in the middle.
I don't know, maybe Iverson just crowded him a little too much there. I didn't really see too much movement out of the 56. Back this up one more time here. Get another blip camera, maybe we can get another shot, but it didn't look like the 56 really came up. He was down near that yellow line. He does come up a little bit. He does come up a little bit.
But the 24 also drops down a hair on corner exit, so it kind of both of them go into the same bit of real estate there.
We got to get a replay on board with the 11.
Doing a little bit of landscaping there in that Napa Toyota Supra. You got a nice front row view to watching this happen. The moment that car started going sideways, he immediately bailed down to the bottom of the track. He knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Looks like a couple cars went through for a ride through the grass. I think the 08 at Cunningham also took a little dip on through, but an opportunity for a lot of cars to try and top off on fuel here. To try and stretch their luck here, especially with a lot of cautions. They could maybe make it to the end if there's some more yellow flags in the future here. And with it being Daytona, that's a pretty fair bet in my opinion.
It's actually a really good situation here for Brett Bieber, Cody Anderson, Matt Grenier. They just come in to top off with fuel. Some of these guys actually took tires, but Cody Anderson moves up to the 2nd position, and this shuffles out the top 5 that you saw a moment ago. Well, they're sitting 8th position on back now. Brett Bieber, one of the only cars that was really up here in the top 5 to remain, and he'll take over the lead. I take that back. The 15 of Matt Grenier also was up there.
Yeah, right before the caution came out, I was going to talk about the fact that Matt Grenier starting to knock on the door of his first OiL Xfinity win over the past couple weeks here. Runs of 6th, 2nd, and 8th over the past 3 weeks. He is really starting to find a rhythm here in the closing stages of the regular season. And what better place to pick up a first victory of the season than Daytona?
I mean, this is the place that anybody could do it, and honestly, not to put anybody in a caliber of, well, it's easy, anyone can do it, because, we're not Geico Insurance, so we can't assure anything that it's going to happen. Daytona is just a crapshoot. You're just throwing dice at the wall to see where they land, and you hope that you come out the other side. We've seen it with guys that have never won, ever, in league history, and they'll come out and get their first win. We've seen guys that, typically have top 5 or, barely finishing in the top 10, just have a really good day here. And I hope that we can find another driver that makes the playoffs based off of that.
Yeah, it certainly feels like a prime opportunity for a driver to kind of materialize in front of our very eyes and pick up a surprise victory. And we're looking at this top 6 here. Brett Bieber, Matt Grenier, Blake Hensley, Tony Iverson, Mark Morton, and the 97 of Alex Healy. Of those 6 drivers, 5 of them are still looking for their first victory of the season. Only Tony Iverson has a win this season. He has 2. He won the only other restrictor plate type race so far this year with his victory at Atlanta. And then he also won at Charlotte a few weeks ago. However, everyone else in that top 6, make it the top 8 for that matter, they're all looking for their first victory of the year. Some of those guys, like a Matt Grenier or Blake Hensley, have been running really well up front, just haven't found that victory they needed. Other guys, like the 32 of Brett Bieber, he's been steadily hovering around that 10th place area, but hasn't really had that standout run. Could tonight be the night for the number 32 to go and make it happen?
Going to take the green flag back on lap 36. 35 of the 75 will be completed. Stage 1 winner Alex Healy sitting back in the 5th position, and I'm interested to see because now the guy that was pushing into that stage win is on his inside. He doesn't have that help, and he didn't have that help just prior to that caution. Nobody wanted to work with the 97 car.
Yeah, which I find really fascinating with how strong he was in the opening stage. You think he would be a natural drafting partner, but maybe they looked at it more as a threat than an ally that first stint after the stage break.
Hard to tell here, but the pace car is going to get out of the way. We can tell you that for sure. Let's get ready to go back live in racing at Daytona. Uneventful start to this race. We had our first yellow. The 56 went around. Green flag is back out. Track is clear. And Brett Bieber, not a good restart. You know, you'd like to see that maybe at Watkins Glen or Las Vegas, pretty much anywhere else. But here at Daytona, when you get a jump like that, look what happens. Blake Hensley to the outside in a 1.
And he's going to have a really good run. Matt Grenier pushing him through the middle of the corner here, trying to get that 31 going on the outside. Only 2 cars in that outside line. Wes Wiegand going to try and jump up and join them here as that outside group starts to form as well. Now we've got those drafting lines put together. Blake Hensley and Brett Bieber going to battle it out, the leaders of their respective rows. Only 3 cars on the inside, though. Worthington trying to drive up to him, but he's got no help right now. So it's going to be those 3 cars that you see on your screen right now going to try and hold down that inside line.
So the drag race down the front stretch, the 32 of Bieber, even with that big jump on the start, Morton was able to get to the bumper in time, let him lead that lap. And so the first one led now for the 32 car outside of the caution. Hensley, I mean, he made a good move. He jumped up there in front of Grenier. I thought he was going to get a good push, but nothing really happened once they got connected.
No, they looked like they had the momentum through 1 and 2, and then they hit the backstretch, and all that speed just kind of died out. Wasn't sure if it was any sort of side drafting from the bottom line or just not enough support up high or what, but now they're not only not gaining anything, but they're starting to fall back as well. Bieber's fully clear of him. Now Morton fully clear of him as well. That inside line really looking strong despite not having the support that the outside line did. And I'm sure that's going to be driving Blake Hensley up a wall right now, knowing that he had a prime opportunity to try and take the lead. And now they just are slowly and steadily falling farther and further back. And now Morton to the outside.
He's thinking about it. He's going to jump up in front of Hensley. Here they come off of turn 2. Bieber's going to fall back to the 2nd position as of now. They have a big surge of speed down the backstretch and 2 cars clear.
You could tell Morton hesitated for a second going through 1 and 2 if he actually wanted to commit to it. And then Iverson got close enough to shut the door and force the 2 up there. But I don't think Morton's going to be complaining too much as he's taking the lead here on lap 38. We are at the halfway point of this regular season finale. Mark Morton leads this field, but I mean, it's still anybody's race behind him. But they're not nearly as tightly knit as they were in that opening stage. You can see they're a bit more spread out behind. Everyone still has some semblance of draft, but it is not nearly as coherent as it was in the opening stage. Right now, we are on board with one of the drivers, that's Michael Kostick in the 8, back there in 13th, and he is really not having the success that those top 12 cars are having. He's got a line of cars behind him trying to get that draft chain going, but him and Andy Kurtz struggling to maintain pace with that top group right now.
And we talked about it where it was a 1 second from the tail end of the field to the leader. Now it's a spread of over 2 seconds. So these guys are sandbagging a little bit more than they were in that first stage. There's Cody Anderson jumping down in front of the 8 of Caustic for the 14th position. But yeah, single file, and it's really long, elongated. Still in the draft, though. None of these guys are out, and I think once you see that 10, 15 to go, you're probably not going to see these guys back here as deep.
No, for sure. This is definitely the bide your time and make sure you don't get caught up in anything stupid that happens in front of you, which is something that I'm sure is on the forefront of these drivers' minds when they were thinking about what just happened to Craig Schroeder a few minutes ago. And now up front, Morton will drop to the inside. He'll take Blake Hensley with him. That inside line now dominant. Very few cars left in that outside groove as they all filed into the inside. Wes Wiegand leading that outside group. He's also trying to find a place to dip in. He has fallen all the way back to the 6th position, and it's about to be worse. Alex Healy trying to punt him through the corners, but there's just not the support there. But Blake Hensley going to jump to the outside here on Morton. Doesn't have any help with him, but he's going to try and make the pass going down the backstretch as Wiegand closes in on his back bumper.
Yeah, Wiegand actually really turbulent there. I think he was still getting a push from Healy as they entered the back bumper. Hensley, I mean, he didn't really stagnate that line, but he didn't really gain anything either. This is the second time that Hensley has moved up and tried to get to the lead and just not able to get it. Here he's going to peak for a second. He will lead that time by, but now after that push into the tri-oval, Wiegand falls off a car length.
Yeah, Mark Morton surging back on the inside there. He has got Brett Bieber directly behind him as they continue their drive to the front. Blake Hensley led the lap, but he got a huge bit of separation from the 88 of Wiegand, and now it will fall back to where that outside line is, but they lost a ton of ground in this high-speed yet slow-moving chess battle, if you will. They're going at rapid pace, but you know, you have to gain ground every inch at a time here. You've got to earn every position you get on track, more so than any other kind of racing with how much it is aero-dependent here at Daytona. So every time you lose out on a spot, it's going to hit you that much more because it's going to be an absolute war to try and reclaim it.
You ever played speed chess, Alan? You ever played that?
I don't know if Alan's ever played it. Alex.
Sorry.
That's all good. I'm
losing my mind.
Yeah, it has been a day, that's for sure. But yes, to your point, very much a game of high-speed chess out here.
Saw Hensley get a little out of shape there again through the tri-oval. I thought they were going to go 3 wide with Wiegand on the high side. I think Hensley might be hindering this outside a little bit with where the push is. He's not quite meshing well with the push from Wiegand right now, and you have to start taking that into account. This is where you start to find your partner for possibly the end of this race, because we're less than 30 to go here very soon.
The one thing that I noticed with the 31 of Hensley and the 88 of Wiegand is that wherever the 31 ends up off the corner, the 88 seems to end up about half a lane to a full lane more to the outside than where the 31 ends up. And that might be a way to get some clean air on the nose, but it's also really killing that draft line. You see Wiegand again popping out and then sliding back in. You get some fresh air on the nose of that Chevy, but at what cost is that going to kill the draft line here and prevent that outside line from making any real forward progress? It just doesn't seem like those two are as in sync as Morton and Bieber are on the inside. So even though that outside line has had the run at times, they just haven't been able to capitalize it on the past couple laps. The 88 again falls back going into the tri-oval and leaves the 31 by himself going in the 1.
I'm just interested to see. We're going to take it on board here. Is Wiegand loose? Because when he comes into that, he falls off almost a full car length. And I don't think that's all on purpose. I mean, you really wouldn't want to do that if you want to maintain your position. You see 3 spots lost already. Now they're going to surge back. 31 at Hensley probably getting frustrated that Wiegand can't push him past the 2 of Morton.
Yeah, we'll have to see going through 3 and 4. That's where I think the 88 gets the most loose, is off the exit of 4. So we'll see if it happens again here. But, I mean, even here, he is a full car length and a half gone from the 31. I mean, that level of connection just is not there. So So maybe things a little steady there, but when you have that extra speed in the draft, maybe it starts to fall off a little bit. So he's trying to find a spot where his car will handle properly in the draft, but it is definitely coming at the price of the 31 and that outside line as a whole, making that move up top. And it's a tough situation for the 88 to be in, because you don't want to try and drop out of line, because then you're going to lose all that track position you worked for. But you're doing basically everything you can right now to hang on to the car. You see him get a little loose there off turn 2. And then it's just a matter of trying to hold on and not wiping out part of the field. It's a really precarious situation I think the 88 might be sitting in right now.
Running on board with Alex Healy here, and you can see all the way to the outside. He's not meshed up there with a 31. He's keeping the nose in the air. Side draft is probably the only reason that the 31 has even maintained that third position as they tick away another lap. 30 to go, actually 29 now. And I mean, Mark Morton, he's just cruising right now, and no one's contesting him.
Yeah, right now he's content to sit on that inside lane. Brett Bieber content to sit directly behind him. The two of them have a good thing going there on the inside. Iverson back there in third, also waiting in the wings as this inside line has just been slow and steady, making their way around the shortest way through this track. Hensley continuing to try and battle on the outside, but now he's fallen back to battle with Worthington for fourth. Iverson nearly had the 31 cleared, and I think he was going to think about jumping up high. If the 31 and 24 link up, I think it could be a very different conversation on that outside line. But I don't think either one of them want to do that just yet, because they both want to be the car leading that exchange and not pushing that exchange.
Greg Schroeder coming off of pit road. He finally got some of that damage repaired. He's 12 laps down, back in 21st position. Michael Cole has actually elected to take it behind the wall. Not sure if Michael had a connection issue or exactly what was going on with the 67 is behind the wall now. He will probably lose a couple laps. I don't know if he'll get back into this race or not. That could be a position for Craig Schroeder. Through the top,
that outside line has fallen apart.
Yeah, it's completely dissolved here. 88 said, I've had enough. He drives down to the bottom. Healy has a hole if he wants it. He doesn't elect to go down there just yet. But nobody is on the back bumper of Hensley here. Megan's going to drop into about the 5th position on the inside. Through the top 10, though, we have Morton, Bieber, Iverson, Hensley, Wiegand, Hall, Worthington, Grenier, Healy, and Hall Jr. And a move back to the outside. Make up your mind, Wes Wiegand. He's going to take it back to the back bumper, but no push here on the 31 car.
Yeah, he took a look to the inside. I guess he didn't like being marred down there in the bottom, or maybe he thinks he'll still be loose down there, but if he's going to be loose, at least he has more room up on the high lane where he can push it out an extra lane. Curious what's going through the mind of the 88 right now as he jumps back to the outside, and the 93 there, Tom Hall, he'll look to the inside now. He'll be the 4th car on that inside line. That blue and green 93 making a slow and steady move toward the front of the field here as we make our way through 1 and 2 on lap 50.
So right now, if you're Morton, you're thinking, okay, Bieber's working really well with me. They're spreading all around the place behind me. I just need to do everything I can to stay in the front because something's going to happen behind me.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little anxious back there. More cars popping out of lane, trying to see where they might get a run coming off the corner. More cars moving up and down the track, trying to jigsaw their way up further into the field. I think it's only a matter of time before someone makes an ill-advised move here, but right now everything green and steady, but a very precarious Jenga tower all these cars are sitting on right now, as Morton will lead them back into turn 1. Bieber on his back bumper, Iverson and Hensley duking it out for 3rd.
And with no connection here on the outside line, don't suppose we're going to see anybody surge back to the lead and take it away from Morton. 25 laps to go, and the 2 car has moved it up a line. Looks like he's playing a little defense now.
Yeah, both him and the 32 moved up about a half lane there. Maybe just to try and keep an eye on the 31, keep it the outside line in check. Or it could have been that the 32 had poked out a half lane one too many times for Morton's liking, and he was trying to cut that off at the pass that time around. Because I have seen the 32 once or twice in this run kind of poked his nose about half a lane to the outside off of 2, seeing what room there might be to operate on the backstretch. But Morton doing a good job keeping that under wraps right now. He's honestly had a pretty easy time trying to defend both lanes because the outside lane has just not had a really convincing attack for most of this run. So it's just been a lot about keeping the 32 in his mirror as more cars diving to the inside here, leaving only about 3 or 4 cars in that outside row.
Well, when everybody dives to the inside of Daytona, that tells you one thing here. These guys might have to pit soon.
Green flag pit stops at Daytona, and here we go. Morton coming down pit road with a whole host of other cars. A big wave of cars going to try and get a slowdown in contact between Wiegand and Morton going into pit road. Curious if either one of them are going to get hit with a speeding penalty there. It was going to be real close.
Yeah, Wiegand locked it up and slid into the back of the 2, but I think they both got it down to speed in time. Alex Haley also in for service. Hall.
Got about a pack of 8, 9 cars there who all came down pit road at once. They're going to try to leave together as well, all group up in the draft to lose as little time as possible getting back up to speed. But that's going to also now put a clock on the rest of these guys. When do you come down to make your final pit stop of the race here? Because all these cars are definitely good on fuel to the end of this race.
The Grenier are going to lead this pack out. Blake Hensley still out on the racetrack. A few other cars come down pit road. There's Daniel Cunningham. Remember, he had some problem or damage repair, some extra time there in his stall. But the 08 is going to come back out about the 10th position here. And this second group of cars led by Tony Iverson.
Yeah, Iverson was able to get around the 32 on pit road there. Big gains for the 24 crew. It'll be a little bit of track position when they all shuffle on out. Now Drew Prohl and Cody Anderson around the outside here. They've got the race lead as it stands as they get past Hensley. All these cars, though, will need to come down pit road at some point, except maybe the 56 of Schroeder. He is not on the lead lap and only recently left pit road, so he's probably good on fuel to the end. But the 5 cars on the inside line, the remaining cars who still need to come down pit road here and get their final stops is, oh boy, as they get around the 114 of Travis Bieber. Boy, he's getting sideways. The 56 spinning through the infield grass and into the inside retaining wall. A heavy hit there for the 56 of Craig Schroeder, but we stay green. Take a look at the replay here and see what happened to the 56. Looks like Justin Ray, Alex Penn on the inside there. Penn is the one side by side with Schroeder as they go in the 1 and 2.
He saw the move there for the 80 and the 42. I don't know if that lap car of Travis Bieber had anything to do with this. Because it was kind of a surprise moment there for everyone.
So the 56 tried coming back down, assuming that the 30 was going to drop right back down after getting past Bieber. But the 30 was going to hang out in that middle lane for an extra second. And the 2 of them met in the middle as the remaining cars will come down pit road here. So no caution was thrown for that one. They were deemed well off the iRacing racing line. So the last 4 cars who needed to make a stop look to do so here, or 4 of the last 5. Alex Penn actually still on track as they run.
They're all by himself, and that's the loneliest number you could be right now. If you're the 30 car, you're probably thinking, well, I made my bed. I'm gonna pit by myself now.
Yeah, that's you've gotten the lead, but at what cost is the question here. At most other tracks, this would be a huge opportunity to try and play the strategy call and see if you can extend it for a late caution. And that might be what Penn's going to try and do here, but you don't get nearly as long of a window as you do at most other places in the draft here. Those cars that are all linked up significantly faster than the 30 right now. So even though he's got a half a lap lead, I have no doubt that is going to plummet as the laps tick away here.
Trail and Blake Hensley have grouped off away from the rest of these cars as well. There's Justin Ray. There's a big tandem of cars.
And there's the rest of them.
Yeah, this whole pack is going to gobble up those two up there that are, only about 2 seconds ahead. So once they get caught up to those guys, it's on to Alex Penn. And right now, if you're in the 30 car, you're going to be thinking, okay, this 25-second lead, it's dwindling down probably a solid 4 seconds a lap.
Yeah, he might be going into insane fuel save mode in here in the hopes of trying to extend this to the end. I doubt he'd be able to, but the last time I thought they weren't going to be able to make it on fuel, the Penn machine especially, he battled it out in a dramatic last couple lap sequence with Daniel Cunningham at Nashville a few weeks ago. They both had an insane fuel save, took one less pit stop than the rest of the field, and were able to hold on by about a 2-second gap. Nashville and Daytona, though, slightly different situations, as these cars are absolutely flying now that they're fully stocked up and loaded together. You see, they cut the deficit to Prohl and Hensley in half over the course of the lap there.
They are in the draft now as well, so they're going to suck right up to the 31's bumper and probably pass them like they're sitting still. We're going to see 3 wide here momentarily.
Yeah, if you're Justin Ray, you're just going to hope you catch him off of the exit of 4 and not in the middle of the corner. We'll see where they catch lap traffic, or not lap traffic. This is 4 position, but they're a lot slower.
Block.
Hensley with an aggressive block there in front of the 38. Now Iverson looking to try and figure out who he's going to push. He jumps behind the 80 of Prohl. Justin Ray is going to have to settle in behind the 31 of Hensley. I'm sure Ray was not happy about that. A gutsy block by the 31. It worked out for him, but that could have caused a major pileup in the outside lane.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've also chopped 5 seconds off of Alex Penn's lead in the last 2 laps.
I mean, you had to do it if you're the 31 at Hensley. You can't blame them because they were going to get gobbled up and left for dead. Those cars would have passed them like they were sitting still. However, for Hensley, you got to be mindful that there's about 14 cars that are coming up the back bumper there, and if you check up the field like that, that's a good chance we're going to see at least 5 or 6 of them total.
But instead, much like with the Schroeder incident from a few laps ago, we race on. So it'll be Iverson who gets around Prohl here, and now Hensley and Prohl will duke it out for what is currently 3rd place on track, although provisionally it might be 2nd, assuming that the 30 machine can't make it to the end on fuel. They've cut another 3 seconds off of that lead here. Oh, Iverson's turned. Heavy contact into the 80. He looks like he's going to be able to save it. Maybe no contact with Andy Kurtz. He's sideways in the Bobby Hall. Into the outside wall they go, and the yellow flag is out.
That's going to do it.
We were getting to that point where things were going to get crazy, and just when we thought everything had calmed down for a second, they explode in front of our very eyes.
Actually going to happen here on the backstretch, but you're going to see Iverson in the 24. He's the initial start of all this, but I'm not sure if he got a bad push. Something happened to set that 24 off.
Yeah, he's got a pretty decent gap here. And it looks like he goes up to defend the high line. And the 31 just looks like a bit of a sideways push, and the 24 uses Drew Prohl as a bumper to collect himself, but in the process, Iverson will collect Andy Kurtz, Bobby Hall Jr. Both of those cars go around. Prohl actually, I think, was able to survive that with relatively minimal damage. The 5 and the 94, it looked like they actually got the worst of that.
The back end fasteners on the 5 car must not have been held on very well, because you saw it looked like the rear end of that car came completely undone.
Well, hopefully he doesn't pull a Joey Gase and try and throw it at somebody.
I mean, he got hit pretty hard, but I don't think it warranted the back end coming completely off the car.
Yeah, maybe they'll just get some flex tape real quick, try and stick that back on there and get him back out there. Or, hey, you know, maybe OiL will approve it without the rear bumper there, and you know, you get a little less drag on the back end of the car. Could be useful in the closing couple laps here. Although I don't know if iRacing codes it the same way those cars run in real life without the rear bumper.
So now,
interesting opportunity here for Penn.
Yeah, I'm just trying to sort that out because I can hear him coasting around the racetrack. He kind of looks like a genius right now that he's up front, but really it doesn't mean much at Daytona. He probably he's going to have to come down pit road. I don't think he can make it on fuel.
Yeah, it sounded like he was going to try and extend it to wherever he could, but he's got a few takers on pit road, so it may not be a complete loss there for the 30, but definitely not the way he was going to hope that worked out. That was a bit of a long shot anyway, but he's actually got a decent bit of company, a fair bit of takers down pit road maybe for one final stop here. Not nearly as many cars as I thought stayed out there.
Yeah, Daniel Cunningham, Mark Morton, Tony Iverson. I mean, some of these guys with damage, you know, Andy Kurtz and Bobby Hall Jr., of course, we're going to come down. Actually, Bobby Hall in the 94. Let's see where he is. He stayed out.
Interesting. Maybe the damage on the 94 not as bad as first anticipated. He might be trying to muscle it out here. An interesting group of cars who stayed out here. Looking at those cars still on track, about 10 or 11 of them stayed out. Let's see. 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 cars stayed out on track. Quick math is a little difficult sometimes, but 9 cars stayed out, which does raise an interesting question.
Odd and even numbers there? I think.
I went probably like 2, 4. I was going based off of how I saw them on the screen, so I think I went 2, 4, 6, 7, 9.
You just broke my brain, Alex.
Well, you know, they don't pay me to do math. They pay me to talk about what we're seeing on track here, and what we're seeing is Justin Ray and a really prime opportunity here in the closing stages. He'll have the track position. We know the 32 has been a really solid pusher. And he'll be the car lining up behind him, maybe. Or no, actually, no, he'll be to his outside. It'll be Wiegand behind him. Wiegand, we've seen be really loose when in the pushing position, so maybe not as comfortable a position for Justin Ray.
Yeah, Wiegand's been a little timid here to be back on the back bumper, and you know, I think all the people around have sized that up. And if you're looking for a partner right now, I'm looking where that red car is. That Holly 97 is the one I want on the back bumper when we come into turn 4 on the last lap.
Yeah, the other one that raises some interesting questions to me is the 94 of Hall. Does he have the speed to maintain pace with the cars that aren't damaged? Because while his car seems like it's in all right shape, he did make contact with the outside wall there in that previous incident. And that is definitely not going to just not affect the car in any capacity. There will be some sort of effect that has been had on that 94 machine. I mean, his gamble, and really the rest of the field's gamble with him, is that it's going to not be all that serious. Because if he bogs down that outside lane, it's going to leave those top 2 cars out to dry as everyone else goes flying on by. But base car lights are off this time around, which means when we hit the stripe, it'll be 10 laps to go here from Daytona. 10 lap sprint to the finish, to decide who makes the playoffs here in the OiL Xfinity Series and who doesn't. Boy, it doesn't get any crazier than this. I have no doubt we're about to see some wild stuff on track.
And remember, unlimited green-white checkers in this league, so unlike the truck series where they only get 3 attempts, you can run it out as many times as you need to extend this race. We might get our 11 laps back that we missed here at the start of this race, Alex.
We certainly might, which... You know, if it's unlimited green-white checkered attempts, people may have come to see 75 laps of racing, and we might still hit 75 laps of racing before it's all said and done. Obviously, I'm sure the drivers would like to settle it in regulation, but when it comes to Daytona, that threat is definitely looming overhead. But they're going to roll their way out of turn 4. Justin Ray, Brett Bieber going to try and lead these 2 lines of cars at nearly 200 miles an hour around this track for an opportunity to win at Daytona and pick up the last win of the regular season here. And it's all about to go green in just a couple of seconds.
back underway. 38, Justin Ray. Great start there with Wiegand, and there they go down the front stretch. Big jump there. Wiegand almost has the 32 cleared. Are they going to move up, or are they just going to try to carry this speed? A little lift on the throttle there as they go into one.
If Wiegand was cleared, he might have jumped. Now he does. A late move by Wiegand to jump in front of the 32. Wiegand going to try and lead that outside line. Worthington storms up to the back bumper of Justin Ray. And now here we go. The 38 and the 88 going to try and roll it down the backstretch here. The outside line with a ton of momentum. Bieber leaves Wiegand out to dry. Now he's going to drop to the bottom. Brett Bieber and Wes Wiegand into 3 and 4.
Wiegand's just playing whatever line he can to get to the lead. Well
It's
done.
worked for him so far. He now finds himself in the lead here at Daytona with only a few laps to go. He is looking for what could be a huge upset victory. His best finish this season's 12th. Still looking for his first top 10, let alone a victory. This could be a seismic victory for Wes Wiegand if he's able to hold on for the final 9 laps.
Into turns 1 and 2, less than 10 to go. Wiegand leading for the first time today. We saw him on the outside pushing the 31 of Hensley. They never could mitigate the damage. They kept falling back on the outside, but now playing both lanes, and the 88 seems to be a lead car and not a pusher.
Well, that's certainly the car you'd rather have in the final couple laps here. That is certainly an advantageous position to be in. Justin Ray right now lurking in the wings just behind him. Worthington and Bieber side by side for third. They'll hit the stripe. 8 laps to go. 3 wide behind him. Healy, Morton, and Reinstedel all side by side going to the one. And there's contact. Bieber sideways, and they're wrecking in the one. It's the big one. Oh, man, so many cars collected.
And Morton, who has led the vast majority of this race, done for the day. That machine is totaled. The 42 of Cody Anderson is caught up in it. He's got some heavy right front damage.
I think that
Healy,
when it's all said and done, the list of cars not involved will be significantly shorter than the list of cars involved.
I mean, Healy just barely escaped that.
Yeah, and then it all came crashing down behind them. That is as the calamity was unfolding. Trying to figure out where this started. It's going into 3 with this 3 wide. Worthington was trying to, I guess, maybe move up, or Morton was trying to move down. The 113 and the 2 is where this starts. And just completely train wrecks behind him. On board with Bobby Hall. Boy. Things parted like the Red Sea for Bobby Hall there. Everything going either down below him or up into the outside wall, and the 94 will soldier on there in the top 6. Everyone behind him, though, not so lucky. On board here with Anderson, who catches a big piece of Mark Morton. And then also a lot of Alex Penn, heavy contact for the 42. Just heavy, heavy damage. And if that's the list of cars that were not involved, if they're the ones who have caught up to the pace car, what are we seeing? About 8 cars there?
Yeah, it's not very many. Yeah, eight to be exact. And I mean, you could argue that the 113 was a part of it because he had actually got tagged and sent the guy on the outside around, so he could be added to that list as well. And Wes Wiegand, just thankful he got up here when he did and played both the lines. And I saw Alex Penn. He's in a situation now where that car is pretty much done for the day. Cody Anderson's probably done. Mark Morton definitely done. A lot of competitive fast guys that were up at the front. A lot of this race are out.
Yeah. And you look at the cars who are left in this top group. You got Wes Wiegand, who just took the lead. Justin Ray, who was just up there in the restart, but that's the only time we've seen the 38 up front. Then behind them, Worthington, who's been in the top 10 all day. but hasn't really been in the lead per se. Healy, who led all of the opening stage basically, but then has not really been a huge factor since. And then behind them, you've got, I believe it's Drew Prohl and Travis Bieber, a couple of cars who also have not been near the front at any point today. So, I'm sorry, it's Travis Bieber and the 94 of Thomas Hall, or Bobby Hall, who was involved in the wreck before this one. So, a real mixed bag up at the front, and if this is the amount of cars who have regrouped with the pace car here, it might be a thin field trying to bring this one home to the checkered flag.
And I think we're going to get just about a natural green-white checkered here for the restart. I think we're going to have one extra lap, but again, we do have the unlimited attempts, and you're Wes Wiegand right now. You're just hoping it goes green to the end. I want to finish this thing out. There's opportunity to fall back, but not very far. You could probably get a top 10 with this. Pretty much guaranteed if you're still running up to speed.
It would be his first top 10 of the season, but I'm sure he is hungry here for a lot more than that. You know, an opportunity potentially to pick up the first victory of the season for him. You know, he is a good clip back in points from being able to make the playoff 16, but, you know, winning you're in could change everything.
This is a good opportunity. I was going to say a good opportunity. We might pull him up here and get his thoughts here. Flex Motorsports driver Wes Wiegand up in the broadcast booth. Do you got a copy?
I got you.
Now, Wes, it's about to get really crazy here. You're going to have a 5 to go, 4 to go when you take the green. What's in store for us? You've been playing the lines pretty well.
Man, I'm just hoping I don't get a bad bump and shoot the car left or right and get in a wreck. Just hoping I can bring it home underneath that checker flag first.
This has been a pretty eventful day. It got really heated there in the second stage. You're in a good position. Wes, this will lock you in, man. Go get him.
Appreciate it, man.
Wes Wiegand, driver of the 88 Flex Motorsports machine. Get him back down there with the teammates so he can count them down. So, Alex, I mean, sizing this thing up, there's potential for pretty much the top 8 drivers. I think everybody up here has a good enough car, maybe with the exception of the 94. He's got a little right front damage, but I think Wes is exactly where he wants to be. He has a teammate behind him. He has a good shot at winning this race.
He certainly does. And I think about the only other restrictor plate race we've had this season, the season opener at Atlanta. Tony Iverson won that race when he took the lead with 3 laps to go. We'll be going the 4 laps to go here once we go green. So, you know, this thing's definitely not all said and done for the 88. He still has a lot of work to go out there and do. And a lot of hungry cars in varying states of functionality behind him. But the pace car will peel off. And here we go once again, 4 laps to go from Daytona. That was a really good jump from the 88 and the 97.
Excellent restart here with 4 laps left on the board. The 38 of Justin Ray trying to get it up to full song. He has the 113. Alex Healy moves up a little bit to play that line. They might move up to the outside here down the backstretch. Both lanes blocked by Flex. Didn't work in the 38 of Ray.
Wiegand tried throwing the block. It didn't work. Ray all the way up high. They're 3 wide down the backstretch for the lead here going into turn 3. Alex Healy on the bottom. Justin Ray will fall back on that top lane with no help. And he'll have to try and find a place to slot back in. Wiegand holding on to the lead on the outside lane. But they have lost a lot of momentum with that split down the backstretch. Alex Healy, Travis Bieber now running really well with 3 laps to go on that inside line. But here comes Wiegand and company back on the outside.
Well, if you didn't notice, that 113 has Flex on the hood as well, and that might have been part of the strategy. Leave Justin Ray out to dry, get up, connected with the teammate, control both lanes. Nobody's going to contest it right now. Iverson peeks out the middle. He has the 5 of Kurtz, who, remember, Kurtz got caught up in some business earlier. Surprising to see the 5 back up here in this pack. They are thundering around for 2 to go. A little turbulent there with Bobby Hall and Iverson.
A little turbulent might be an understatement. They were really sideways going into turn 3. It's a miracle none of them got turned. But going to 2 to go, that inside line is the place to be right now. 2 cars clear. Cunningham battling with Wiegand for third. Alex Healy, Travis Bieber, the 2 cars going to duke it out on the inside line. Here comes Wiegand back up high with only 5 miles to go.
Wiegand's getting that surge, that push. They have to time it just right. Right now, probably not the time. They need Bobby Hall to get connected. That outside starting to fall apart.
Oh, Bieber in the outside wall.
Hensley around as well.
I think Justin Ray got caught up as well. 3 fast cars all pummeling the wall there with 2 laps to go. And we'll be going to OiL overtime.
Parts all over the backstretch and 3 cars involved. Justin Ray, Blake Hensley, looks like maybe Brett Bieber. Yeah, he's definitely involved.
Those are the 3. Heavy damage for the 32. Smoke billowing out of that car. No front or back left to that machine.
It's dragging the sand right now.
Might be a day ender there for the 32. He had been running really well all day. Additionally, I mean, he had been up front, led a few laps, was in the hunt in the top 5 basically all evening. And when it mattered most, now he finds himself with an absolutely destroyed race car.
Back it up just a little bit more here. This is actually going into 1 and 2. It starts on the backstretch. But, yeah, I mean, it almost happened between Bobby Hall and Tony Iverson.
Yeah, coming off of turn 4, those 2 nearly turned each other. They got themselves settled down, and then as they come off of turn 2 here, watch the 32 and the 31 on the inside.
Yeah.
Everything just gets a little stacked up. The 2 catch each other at a bad place to push, and as they shoot up the track spinning, they collect the 38 of Ray as well.
And I think Drew Prail got a little bit of damage from this as well because he was connected to the 38's bumper when it all went down.
On board here with the 80. Oh, wow, yeah. Pretty significant damage. The hood does a bit of a magic disappearing and reappearing trick there for the 80, so I guess it's still attached, but it looked like it was going to come off for a second.
Yeah. Got nothing for it, iRacing. Couldn't compute that one. That's what happens when you ask Alex to do math. That's the calculation.
It really is. You're going to start asking the hood piece whether you start counting odds or evens,
Yeah. So Wes Wiegand's going to maintain this lead here for the first green-white checkered attempt. Wow, this is interesting because he's got all his teammates here for this restart. I mean, they've been building up towards this top 3, and he's in a prime spot to get a win.
Yeah, you look at the top remaining cars in the field here. Wes Wiegand, Alex Healy, Dana Worthington, Travis Bieber, and then just behind them, Daniel Cunningham has rallied that 08 back into the top 5. Bobby Hall there in 6th, so a couple of cars that we've seen up front today, but not for a long time, and then a couple of very recent cars who have found their way up to the lead. We're going to try and hold on for the win here. And then just behind that top 6, I mean, you start getting into cars that are really beaten and battered. The 5 of Andy Kurtz, the 8 of Michael Kostick. Both of those cars with some damage today, and then, you just look beyond them. Looks like they were able to reattach the back bumper of the 5 there. The 80 we know just took some damage from that last incident, so a lot of cars that may not be able to get up to full speed here. A lot of cars will be able to hang in the draft, but who's going to have a clean enough race car to actually go out and make the pass? That's the question.
Yeah, that's what I say. I think for every second that ticks by here, Wes Wiegand looking more and more like he could win this race. And I hate to ever announce it because we know it's Daytona. We don't know until the last lap, the last corner, the last 10 feet when they come out of that tri-oval who actually crossed the line first. And it looks like Wiegand going to elect to start on the outside here. Going to let Alex Healy protect the bottom. This could be a wise move because actually with the 88 getting a good jump on the restart, depending on which teammate goes in time, he could choose that line because he could jump out ahead of both of them and clear it down into 1.
Yeah, he's going to have his teammate behind him there if he takes the outside. We have seen, though, that outside line has been far less consistent tonight in being able to group up and get a consistent run to the front. So be curious to see what he's thinking there on the outside line. Worthington to the inside, Bieber up high. Alex Healy there in the 97, inheriting that inside spot. Could be a real prime opportunity here for the 97. He had led a lot early, fell back through the middle of this race, but now finds himself in prime position to go out and try and steal a win here on his part-time schedule.
So I got a couple in the chat here. K9 Burnout says, watch the car in 4th place. It's messed up. That's actually the paint scheme burnouts. And then Drew Prail says, we good. We're ready to go. So whatever we saw on our screen, that was just smoke and mirrors. A little David Blaine hood. Never happened.
We do love when the cars do magic tricks here at Daytona. It's always a special sight, so I guess the 80's ready to rock and roll here. Also, he's very glad to hear live time updates from the drivers here in chat.
Yeah, that's pretty brave to try to text and chat and drive at the same time, but Drew Prail going to restart back here in 9th position. Grouping back up. Oh, man, it's almost an eternity here at Daytona. I'm anxious.
See, you might be anxious. I'm both excited, but I'm very concerned on what might happen here going down the backstretch. The gloves are off at this point. There's no more waiting around for your moment. You just have to go out and take it. And when you have that situation here at Daytona, it usually creates some carnage along the way. Curious to see who will make it out here in one piece as the green flag back in the air at Daytona. Wiegand with a good launch off, but is anyone going to get up there with him?
He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He dives it down to the inside. He has 2 teammates behind him. The 114 and the 08 get connected. They're going to play the high line now into 1.
Worthington completely by himself on the bottom, but he's unbothered as he trucks his way to the front of the field. Bieber and Cunningham now to his back bumper as well. Worthington on the inside, Wiegand on the outside. Here we go down the backstretch.
They're just trying to get a good shove here, and I think if you're the 113, you're dragging the brake a little bit.
Gotta do anything you can here to try and stay connected off of 4. We know the 88 struggled a little bit coming off of turn 4 previously as a pusher. Looks to be fine, though, as that lead car, Healy, directly behind him, giving them a good push. 1 lap to go here from Daytona. Worthington and Wiegand side by side for the lead.
Wide. Drew Prail moves it up to the outside. 24 of Iverson into the door. But it's Flex Motorsports controlling both lanes. The 113 down the backstretch. Daniel Worthington trying to hold up the 114 of Travis Bieber. A surge back on the outside line. Will we try 3 wide into 3?
Whoa, move to the inside by Bieber. He'll slide back to the inside. Wiegand and Healy going to try and stay linked up for one more attempt. Will Bieber try to make a move? He's going to try and force himself up. Now it's out of line. He's
Healy's
collecting
turn.
the rest of the field.
And
A
it's
drag race
to the finish line. Wes Wiegand's going to get it.
Wes Wiegand wins it at Daytona. I was at a loss for words. The entire field wrecked out, and it was a drag race to the line between Worthington and Wiegand. But the 88 gets it done. First top 10 of the season, forget about it. Wins the regular season finale here at Daytona. What a run for Wes Wiegand.
Amazing finish. I mean, we have to unpack that because usually these races are decided by the guy that's pushing you across the line. There was no one pushing either one of these cars. It was raw horsepower to that finish line.
Unbelievable stuff there at the line. I can't wait to take a look at the replay because there's like 3 different parts we need to look at. You know, first we got to look at the wreck and then the aftermath behind what happened there and who was able to make it through. But most importantly, I mean, you know, Wiegand and Worthington, those 2 cars just kept the pedal down and they were able to truck it all the way to the finish. The 88 just having a little bit more momentum when it mattered most.
He looks a little out of practice here with the burnouts. He's going to try to get it going. There we go.
Getting a bit of smoke out of there.
Wes Wiegand victorious here at Daytona in the final race of the regular season. The Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series put on a great show here. 79 laps, 4 more than the regular scheduled programming. And we I mean, we got it done. Little late start, though, here on Vspeed, and we apologize for that, but overall, excellent finish, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Post-race interviews with your top three. Look at all of Flex Motorsports coming out here to congratulate Wes Wiegand on his first victory of the season. But post-race interviews with your top three. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live on Vspeed. The Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series has concluded its 75 laps, an additional 4 here tonight at Daytona. Let's unpack this final lap. You see Daniel Worthington, Wes Wiegand, they're the two top drivers here. The winner, Wes Wiegand, able to edge out, but here's down the backstretch. I mean, just carnage behind him coming out of 4.
Yeah, and it all starts with, on that bottom line, Daniel Cunningham, Travis Bieber. They're pushing so hard that the 114 gets a little out of sorts, and when he goes to try and collect it, just comes up, and the rest of the field goes with him. The 11 of Dustin Reinsettle getting turned actually saved him as he again slides through the rest of the carnage here. But I mean, just heavy contact for the rest of these cars. The 114 of Bieber actually, I think, finished this race backwards.
Just put it in full reverse there, but there it is. Tony Iverson got pinched up against the wall, but the 5 just slammed in the back of him.
We need the onboard of the 11. The 11 nearly got T-boned about 3 times and somehow drove through it completely fine. He gets a little bit of contact coming off of 4, and that ultimately saves him from far bigger damage.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that'll make you want to change your pants.
Dustin Reinsettle's going to get 4th here. What an eventful race we had here. It was a fun one. I mean, again, a lot to unpack here. Let's take you through the final results. Up on your screen now. Maybe.
It's getting there. It's taking
It's working on it. Okay, there we go. It's working now. 5 cautions that we officially saw. I think we saw all the cautions here tonight. 33 lead changes, so we were a little short on that. I'm sure there was a few more. But Wes Wiegand, Daniel Worthington, Tony Iverson going to be your top 3 here tonight. Dustin Reinsettle, and that on board, changing his pants right now, but he's able to come home in the 4th position. Bobby Hall Jr., Justin Ray. I mean, if you're the 38 of Ray, you probably feel terrible right now because you were up at the front for a lot of this race towards the end. but he's going to bring it home in 6th. Matt Grenier in 7th position, Blake Hensley in the 31 in 8th, Travis Bieber 9th, and Drew Prail rounding out the top 10.
After that, you got Michael Kostick and Cody Anderson bringing it home 11th and 12th. Alex Healy, who was right up there till the very end, will ultimately bring it home 13th. Devastating end to his run. Daniel Cunningham, Andy Kurtz, the last 2 cars on the lead lap there, 14th and 15th. Alex Penn, Brett Bieber in 16th and 17th. Tom Hall, Mark Morton, and Michael Cole rounding out the top 20.
One more car left here, and that was Craig Schroeder. He got involved in 2 separate incidents here today. He finished behind the wall 35 laps down. But now that takes us to your top 3. First driver here on the list, we have Alex Gagnon down track side with Tony Iverson, your 3rd place finisher.
Hey, Tony. Congrats on the podium finish there. You're bringing home P3. Back-to-back podiums on the restrictor plate races for you this season after your win at Atlanta to kick off the season. What was the final couple laps like for you? Because they looked absolutely insane from up here.
A little bit of everything, not really knowing what was going to happen. And then, I had some rage here and there and a couple laughs here and there and just really all over the place, especially those last 20 or so laps. It was just felt like at times beautiful organized chaos, and then other times just a straight melee.
Which, as we were coming down to the final laps there, and you kept working your way a little closer to the front each time we went by, was there anything that you could have done to try and snag the win here today, or was it just a matter of trying to survive the imminent explosion of the entire field coming off of turn 4 there?
I think I had a chance at the win. If we wouldn't have had that first green-white checker, I really felt like I was on the way to doing something. The setup I felt was more to my liking as far as where I was going to take my car and who I was going to work with. But that last green-white checker, I knew I had a bunch of my teammates in front of me. And so I was mostly just trying to make sure they kept their momentum up and that we didn't get too split up there trying to work the bottom. And yeah, I mean, I was just lucky to come out P3 of that turn 3 crash, turn 4, wherever it was. I had to save it like 2 different times. Was lucky to see the podium there. So yeah, it was frustrating and fun all at the same time, as this track usually is.
Well, ultimately, you did bring it home on the podium. One last question for you here, Tony. You obviously are locked in to the OiL Xfinity playoffs here that'll kick off next week at Pocono. The round is Pocono, Talladega, and the Chicago Street Course. Are you looking forward to it, or are you nervous because you've got 2 major wild cards in 3 races?
Well, like Healy, I love me some triangles too, so I'm looking forward to racing some Pocono with them guys. And I not really the biggest road racer. I really just kind of see that race as Alex Penn's way into the next round. And then Talladega, good old crapshoot race. The top 2 aren't even running for the playoffs, so this race. So you never know what you're going to get there. But yeah, I feel good about Pocono and Talladega. I think I got a good shot there. But Chicago Street Course, I'll be lucky to podium. I'm going to be kind of hoping that I have a good amount of points going into that 3rd week.
Well, excited to see what you can do in the postseason when it kicks off next week. Congrats on a strong end to the regular season. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out here before we let you go on your way?
Yeah, I got to thank the wife first and foremost right now because, I'm in the West Coast. These races start at 6 p.m. for me. So we were in the middle of giving my 15-month-old a bath. And as soon as I came out here to start the race, she sent me a picture of him just blowing the bathroom up with a number 2 all in the tub. So, I got to really thank her for dealing with that. And it's the 2nd time that's happened to her on race night. So,
Man, that's
gotta give her the shout out on that.
That's a rough trend to start going for the 2 or the 3 of you, I guess. I am curious. Were you on the podium the other time it happened?
Yes, actually, I was. It was in the Indianapolis race.
Hmm.
He had a
Maybe it's a
full
sign of good
blowout
luck
there.
for you then.
Yeah, it's either that or skipping broadcast. Like if the broadcast has a little bit of skipping to it, then I usually win that race.
Well, unfortunately, you tend to do your best work either when the bathroom calls or Mother Nature's not on our
When
side. But either way,
somebody else is doing their best work as well.
Yeah, chaos. It just has to be some chaos around for me.
absolutely. But either way, congrats on the podium. Good luck to you in the playoffs. We hope to see you again in the booth real soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And that was Tony Iverson, our third place finisher here today, who gets the podium, but at what cost?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be a fly on the wall in that bathroom right now. Well, actually, I think you might want to
no.
be. No.
That might be the only way to survive going in there.
But we are catching up with Daniel Worthington, your second place finisher of the night. Daniel, I tell you what, man, you played both the lines there. Flex was controlling the inside and the outside. I thought maybe you got teamed up in the little trio there. You were going to get a 1-2-3, but the wreck there on coming out of 4, Healy got caught up in it. You guys drag raced to the finish line, 6/100ths of a second.
Yeah, it was a heck of a race.
So overall, though, I mean, you didn't get any laps led. You came close there at the end to leading the most important one. But overall, how would you say this race went? Because it didn't really get crazy until the last 20.
It was pretty intense. I enjoyed it. A lot of teammate strategy. We tried getting a couple guys up here that run like weekly, and for a little bit we had it going, but they got in some bad luck. But yeah, we just played a team strategy there. Me and Wes battling. It was fun. I told Wes, I said, "All or nothing, buddy. Let's go." And then that happened at the end, but it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
An eventful day and a second place finish here to finish out the regular season. Daniel, I got to ask you one more question. You had that push there from the 114, and it looked like once both those cars behind you and Wiegand had left, did you feel like it just wasn't enough, or was it a matter of, well, he's on the outside line? What was the factor that decided that finish?
Yeah, well, I think at the restart there, if I remember right, I think they all went like high and they were trying to leave us like out to dry and or something like that. And I said, nope, I'm staying down here, and it worked out. But yeah, after they wrecked, I was like, oh crap, what. And we just kept the speed, but it was a good night for us. I really enjoyed it, like I said.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish here at Daytona to finish out that regular season in the points. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out or thank for the performance?
Yeah, I gotta thank you guys for broadcasting. You always do a good job. This is my first actual time up in the booth in the OiL series. It's pretty cool. I gotta thank Alex and Dave for putting this league on. I gotta thank my teammates at Flex, everyone that worked with us tonight. Yeah, let's try her again some other time. Enjoyed it. Gotta
All
thank
right,
the
well,
wife though. Can't forget the wife.
yeah, I think Tony Iverson agrees. We appreciate your time, Daniel, and we hope to see you next week at Pocono. Thank you very much, man, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, be safe, boys.
Daniel Worthington, second place finisher of the night, and that brings us finally to victory lane, where the guy that we talked to during that caution was able to seal the deal. That's Wes Wiegand. He's down in victory lane with Alex Gagnon.
Hey, Wes, congratulations on the victory. First career OiL Xfinity victory comes in dramatic fashion here tonight. Gap only 600ths of a second. Walk us through that last green-white checkered and what was going through your mind.
The only thing really that was going through my mind was if I lose, it's going to be to a teammate, and I couldn't have been, it would have been awesome if it was Dan or Alex. So I'm glad I came out on top, but I wouldn't have been upset finishing second to my other teammates. So that was a heck of a race. We had a strategy that we worked the entire race. We were really trying to get some other guys up here that were needing the points. to try to get them locked in, and Rex took them out, and I just found myself at the top, when it counted. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, glad to get this first win. I wish it was in the trucks, but if it's in the oil, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, you take them any way they come, and I understand that it's been not the easiest season at the Xfinity level here for you, so I'm sure that'll go a long way for your confidence moving forward. What does this win mean for you for the Xfinity season as a whole after a tough start to the year here? Does this spark the turnaround you need in the back half?
I sure hope so, man. You know, with the win, it's a clean slate going forward. Let's see what we can do with the in the playoffs. You never know; things may fall in my favor like they did tonight, and I could find myself in a even better position. So, just looking toward the next one, and try to go after that second win.
Yeah, man. Well, speaking of the next one, since you mentioned it, next week we go to the Triangle of Pocono. How do you feel about your odds there? Another big track like this one, although obviously a very different style of racing without the restrictor plate.
Yeah, I love my favorite tracks on the sim are Pocono and Dover. They've never been that great to me. Pocono has been good to me. Um, so I feel pretty confident can go in there and have a really good finish, and keep the momentum rolling. So I'm excited for Pocono.
Alrighty. Well, you picked up the win here. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out to help celebrate your victory here tonight?
Oh, for sure, man. I got to thank all my boys at Flex Motorsports. Alex Healy, Dan Worthington, Bobby Hall, Tom Hall. We had some help with Mark Morton tonight, and I know I'm forgetting one. I can't remember his damn name. That sucks. The 56. He's a teammate when he wants to, when he's here. So Milner Media and Designs, he puts killer wraps on my cars. And that's really it. Just my boys of Flex Motorsports. Thank you guys for doing the broadcasting. Again, Alex and his team for putting this league together. It's a good spot to be. I really enjoy it. So that's about it.
Cool, man. Well, hey, congratulations on the victory. Well earned here tonight. Go on, celebrate, and we hope to see you again in the booth real soon.
Appreciate it, man.
And that was our race winner, Wes Wiegand. Won by 0.06 of a second here tonight, and was just able to get the nose ahead of Daniel Worthington to pick up his first career OiL Xfinity victory. Other things that I just fact-checked a second ago, this was Daniel Worthington's first career Xfinity Series start, so he almost won in his Xfinity Series debut here in OiL.
That'd have been a way to capitalize. I mean, both the Flex guys obviously working to try to get Wiegand that win was oh so important. Healy got the stage, and of course Healy also one of those drivers that's not racing or participating in the Xfinity Series full time. We've seen a lot of that. We saw it in the trucks last night, where we had 31 trucks start that race. Some guys that race in the Cup Series even racing in there. It was good to see though, and for the last race of the regular season to have a field that full, really shout out to how these guys organized this league, put it all together, and were able to have that high of a car count consistently through all of this season. Can't wait for the postseason when we start to crown that champion.
Yeah, man, and now the climb has just begun for the 16 drivers who have made the OiL Xfinity Series playoffs. 12 races down. However, there are still 10 to go here in the Overtake iRacing League. Next week, they travel to Pocono up in Pennsylvania. 70 laps at the Tricky Triangle. Should prove to be quite the challenge for these drivers before we go to back-to-back wildcard races at Talladega and then the Chicago Street Course. So for those who really enjoy non-super speedway or non-road course racing, Pocono will be the time to strike to try and lock yourself into the next round. And if you don't get it done next week, oh boy, do you have a battle on your hands the next 2 weeks trying to advance to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, there's a lot to be told, but a variety of tracks here, and we soak it all in for the last race of the season at Phoenix Raceway. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'd like to thank everyone that made this possible here. Alex Healy, Cody Anderson, David Farmer, everyone at Overtake iRacing League that puts all the show on. And then our guy in the background, Adam Baker, my co-producer, co-commentator of the night, Alex Gagnon. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.